shoulder, heart full of blues out in the dirt, down in the dirt. I'm just I've been a real bad boy on the town all night, starting to calm down in the morning light. I'm in the dirt, down in the dirt. Been real bad boy.
Is in a stream, the ocean called for you and me. Still, I'm in this game, but without my closest friend. It's leaving now. I waited here but nothing came, so I close my eyes, 'cause you reflected everything. It's shining through. The light in you, it shines so true. The light in you.
All right, we got our table slash chair slash nap delivery device. We got that all set up, so let's go ahead and get the camera set up and try to compose a shot. All right, so what's happening right now is I went to do a moving time lapse, a hyperlapse, to show you guys as I was looking around for to compose a shot. And my little gimbal and my smartphone app that I used to do that required an update. Luckily I got a signal and I got it up to date, but I just checked this last night before I left. I guess it's getting a signal so it knows that it's out of date or something. Anyway, that's about a 10-minute delay and the sun is coming up. I need to get in position and get a shot ready. I thought they said landscape photography was easy. Just kidding. We'll get it figured out, or we'll just skip this step and I'll just have to do the old-fashioned way. All right, I think I got the gimbal figured out. It's just an update. It was not wanting to stay the right direction. Kept flipping my phone completely backwards. So I'd get the whole hyperlapse all set up, hit start, and she'd flip around upside down and hit the limit. So I don't know. Anyway, that right there is the sun. So I've got to get going.
Wish that I could stay. Wish for this moment to never go away. But it's all in my mind, and though I know that there is nothing to find, you're a beautiful sight in the summer night, and you can't put up a fight in the misty light.
I'm getting in the position and notice this poor little guy. I don't know if it's hunger or a flood or he just froze to death. I don't know.
See how you've grown while you roam in the streets all alone.
What I'm going to try. Oh, hi, I'm blocked. There's a very large red oak that's fallen down here. And it's kind of putting a frame around the fall. Now let's check for level. So now we're all leveled up. Let's go ahead and take advantage of that Really Right Stuff L bracket. Oh, I like that. Let's see if I can give you an example of what the shot's like. So that set of logs right there from that, I believe it's a red oak, is kind of framing the fall area. I want to be low enough where I can get some of that water, but I think I need to go get my polarizer and maybe a ND3 or 6 and just slow things down a little bit more. Let's go do that.
Beautiful I've ever known. You're a beautiful sight in the summer night, and you can't put up a fight in the misty light.
All right. At the very least, we'll be using the polarizer. So on the polarizer, you can see as I turn it, the water becomes more or less reflective. I think we're going to go for max reflective, just because we're doing a long exposure. Okay, so at this point we've set the exposure in the camera to what we want without a filter on. So now we need to determine what does that mean if there's a 6-step ND filter in there. What does the shutter speed need to be? So I just have this app on my phone called Long Exposure. It's free. It's not the best. I actually like the Photo Pills one the best because there's an adjustment on it and things like that, but I only have that on my Note 8 Android phone, which you're watching right now. So my little my old iPhone here, I didn't want to have to pay the $10 again for photo fills, so. So I've set it for ND64 6-stop. And the shutter speed though we need to adjust. So what we determined is one-sixth of a second is what the shutter speed needs to be, which means we got a 10-second exposure with a 6-stop ND filter. So let's set it to 10 seconds as the calculator told us to. So now I wanted to show you the new remote shutter that I'm using from Alpine Labs called the Spark, not to be confused with my DJI Spark. I like that I don't have to touch the camera at all with the Spark. I literally could be 100 feet away, sitting up in the hammock there, but I just can't do it. I thought about it, but you trek out here, you get the camera set up, you kind of want to see it up close and personal. Now I will say, all this technology is great, but 14 degrees out is kind of the limit, I think, on being able to use it. I got to invest in some gloves that can work while they're still on your hand, because I have to have my gloves off to use the app. My butt is so cold I can't even feel it anymore. In hindsight, in hindsight, get it? In hindsight, I should have brought my little seating pad. That would have been smart. But like I said, we're just going to do in photo. And you can see this says my Spark is connected. And we're ready for the shot. All right, so let's take the shot. All right, let's go ahead and see how this came out.
I started with portraits to reduce some of the distractions and create a long image that pulls you in from front to back. I tried framing in the falls and the fallen red oak, and use it to lead you back up around to the falls. Here I switched back to landscape and did a 6-layer focus stack at f6.3 to preserve as much details as possible. Even though this image is cropped in 75% to reduce some of the distractions, you can still zoom in to 300% and take in details from front to back. I find that my eyes are able to follow the leading lines of the water and tree diagonally up to the right and then curve to the left toward the falls.
We'll be together.
Using the golden spiral for this composition, I lowered my camera almost to the level of the water and shifted over slightly to the left. I find my eyes immediately drawn to the end of the branch, and then from there get pulled into the image, spiraling towards the falls. There seems to be no limit to the details in this image, thanks to the 6-layer focus stack at f6.3 and that 42 megapixel sensor. Here I tried to minimalize the composition as much as possible. I feel pulled into the image along the protruding branch. On the way up the creek towards the falls, the focus stacking feeds you with details throughout your journey. And with each of those layers being long exposure, you are treated with an alternate interpretation of the movement.
I'm going to do a time lapse with the a7R3 using the Spark. And I've got the camera set for 5-second long exposure, f10, ISO 100, 24 millimeter. Let me give you an idea here what's going on. So on the app, I've set it for 6-second intervals. And I think I'm going to do it for 4 minutes long, and let's see what we get.
The 6-second interval gives the Spark enough time to expose the 5-second shot and cycle to the next one. I decided to increase the duration to 10 minutes in order to get 100 images to make the time lapse, which is about a 5-second video at 24 frames per second.
Answer.
Because this time lapse was made from 42 megapixel images, I have full control on the final video I create and can pretty much move around within the time lapse and zoom way in. This long exposure time lapse was more of an experiment to perfect my technique, as the flatness of this wintertime scene is missing a lot of color. Here I start with a cropped in version of the time lapse and explore the video more. Already cropped into over 200%, we can zoom in yet another 300% with fine details. I find it very interesting to see water movement as long exposure images. It looks like liquid fog.
So I've been just looking through some of these shots, seeing what we got. It's a little hard to do this in the field, but looks like we have something to work with. I tell you, I'm really trying to figure out a way to get this hammocking thing working with the landscape photography. And I gotta be honest, it's pretty nice having this, being able to sit down like this and even take a little snooze if I wanted to. It's a little too cold for that, but right now I just have one of my many quickly made hammocks. This is one I take on vacations where I carry a little day bag with me, and if there's ever an opportunity, I throw this guy up wherever we're at. I like them. You can straddle them. You can sit back on them like a chair. You can sit on it like this as a chair. And then of course you got the full or diagonal for your best lay. Uh-oh. I might not should have done that. Oh. Anyway. I kind of like having the hammock up when I'm doing the shoot because it had a great place for my backpack. Was able to get gear in and out of the backpack really easy. So I'll definitely be doing this again. All right, well, I gotta get going back. It's been a great morning. Very cold, but good to get out here. Thanks for fun. Signing off. Remember, hang your own hang, and as always, happy hanging.
I've been a real bad boy on the town all night. Starting to calm down with the morning light. I'm in the dirt, down in the dirt.
Ooh, that water's cold.
I've been a real bad boy on the town all night. Starting to calm down.
My hands are cold.